Shouts out Big Steve.
What's up? What's up? Welcome back. Another Big Brain MMA, second episode of the week. Haven't done this in a while, but here we are. So I did a Bellator one. Only have one bet, Pitbull submission, but I could come around. It's a tough card. You know, a lot of people have bets. I just don't feel like forcing anything. I won't be doing a recap. There's a recap at the start of that video if you want to see how I went last week on Cage Warriors, KSW, and UFC. Spoiler, we profited. Not much, but profited. So yeah, this is going to be a nice and short one. I'm dialed in. There's a lot of regionals. I just locked in a bet on the Discord on Octagon right before I went live. So if you're in the chat, you know, let me know some stuff you want me to look into. Let's make some more money, you know, on Ryzen. Tough enough. There's a lot of stuff. Alrighty, let's get into it, shall we? Full discretion, I haven't taped some of these fights. I'll let you know which ones they are. It was either that or just not have a podcast at all this week. But, you know, I taped way too many of these fights. I know all these guys. I'm familiar with them. So, Muhammad Usman versus Mick Parkin. I guess this is a dog or pass fight for me. Both these guys fight close, you know, unless Mick Parkin is fighting, you know, someone like Jamal Pogues. I taped 2 fights each, and, you know, both these guys were finishing dudes on the regionals, and now in the UFC, they can't really finish anyone. Yeah, the decision machines, I don't know. I guess the Usman early line was good. What I don't get is, you know, people playing Collier against him, and now he's fighting a much better opponent in Mick Parkin, who's not going to cardio die. But yeah, I think Parkin is the more well-rounded guy. He's the more technical striker. Usman has this herky-jerky style that works, and obviously the wrestling. The main issues for Mick Parkin is not really athletic, and you could see that in the Kaya Machado fight. He was just winging bombs, and he could explode, whereas Parkin doesn't really have that in him. I guess Usman's more athletic, but yeah, I'm not interested in this fight, especially now that the line's closed in. Yeah. If anything, the over. I'm surprised the over wasn't minus 200, but yeah, I mean, there's probably some value there. It's just I'm a little bit scared because Usman can be finished. But let's move on. Nothing I like. Alrighty. Igor Severino versus Andre Lima. So this is one of the fights I haven't finished taping, but what I will say is I started taping. I remember Andre Lima and obviously Igor. They were both in Contender Series. I taped them both from Contender Series. And I just refreshed my memory in Andre Lima, and I just said to myself, this is a dog or pass. I might actually get to Igor Severino. I still have the last 2 fights of both these guys. So that's where I'm at. You know, what I've seen from Andre Lima, I can't really play this favorite line. You know, Igor is a little bit aggressive, maybe overly aggressive, because you know he's from shooter box, but it is a different kind of shooter box. Just so you know, it's not the Charles shooter box. But yeah, dog or pass for me. Like I said, 2 more fights to tape. Hopefully, I don't change my mind, but we'll see. Montserrat Randon, Daria Zelinkova. This fight right here. I'm not really, from a betting perspective, I'm not really interested in anything on this fight. I mean, Daria is a worse than minus 200 favorite. I see people saying her striking is great. She basically just bites down and spams 1-2s, and she has no defense. So I guess that's all it takes for people to fall for the illusion that she has great striking. She's fighting nobodies. She's fighting these tiny girls that are fat. You know, Luana Jujua is her best win, I guess, or maybe this Maria Luzea girl. You know, she was lighting up Dixon, who's in the UFC. Dixon took her down, finished her ASAP. So she spams 1-2s. She has no defense, and you know, her takedowns are also head and arm throws. So what could go wrong as a massive favorite in the UFC fight? Montserrat Randon, she does nothing. She just exists, literally just exists. She can at least fight on the back foot. She backs up a lot, but she has counter strikes. Doesn't have much power. Her wrestling's bad. All decisions. If you were going to play her against Tamaris Riddell was the spot, I personally passed because I thought her path was a split decision. And go figure, she won a split decision. But yeah, that girl is much worse than Daria. Yeah, actually, though, I'm lying. Something did pop up into my brain recently, last few days, and I wouldn't mind the under. The under is potentially a spot. So I'm going to reevaluate this fight now that this has come to my mind, and hopefully lock in a bet. PS, hello to you as well. Parky the goat. How are you, Parky? I need some long shot underdogs in the Discord, mate, that have no chance, please. Alrighty. Let me just load this second fight. Not second, next fight. Stephen Win Jano Errens. So interesting line, Stephen Win coming off 3 contender series fights and a bum win in between against George Juarez. And now he's, minus 200 or worse than minus 200 against Jano Errens, who I don't think he's a bad fighter. Full disclosure, I lost money on him twice against William Gomez and against Songwon Choi. Against William Gomez, he felt forced just because I was really impressed with the weaselness of Gomez. And I'm like, this guy's just going to go for takedowns if he needs them. And he did. But you know what? It was 1-1 going into the third, and Jano Errens almost won a split. Well, it was majority, but he convinced one judge that he won due to that triangle attempt. And that's his issues. He has awful takedown defense, and I'm going to say his IQ is bad too because he kept grappling Gomez. And it's like, why are you grappling this guy? His best path is to wrestle you, and you have no takedown defense. And he just kept initiating the grappling. He hurt him with a straight right down the pipe. He has a beautiful knockout over Koga on the regionals. Koga's one of the best regional European guys. Sparked him dead. And he also almost knocked out Sungwoo Choi with the same uppercut, right? So the dude has power. He's big. He's long. He's a good kickboxer. He's a judo black belt, I'm pretty sure. He has good jiu-jitsu. It's just the takedown defense and the IQ lets him down. And to be honest, he's fought Gomez in France and he's fought Sungwoo Choi in China, I'm pretty sure, impact arenas. And now he's at the Apex, so that might help him a little bit. With the IQ, maybe someone that gets flustered, but I did see that he's in the last fight of his contract and he's scared to lose. If he loses, that's it for his career. That's a lot of pressure on him. A lot of these dudes have been stepping up with the last fight on their contract. Derek Lewis and some others. But I don't know about Errens, man. Like I've made a lot of bad bets this year. Semmelsberger and Johan and who else? Charles Jourdain over Woodson. Those are some of my worst. And it's always these idiots. And Errens is a bit of an idiot, but he's a decent dog here. So Stephen Wynn just doesn't do much of anything. He's a technical boxer. He will occasionally calf kick, which was the issue for Errens against Choi. And I've seen him mix in takedowns. I haven't seen him on contender, but he can wrestle. He just seems good everywhere. He can be taken down, but he has good get-ups. I've even seen him mounted and everything. He hasn't really fought many good guys at all. The best guy he fought was Alan Cruz, knocked him out. And I guess AJ Cunningham, which is pathetic, really. So it's a clear doggo pass. I have plus 180, $1.85. I tipped it a little bit worse to the Discord because I still think that's a good bet. That's like they're giving him 35%. Even though John Errens is an idiot, he has to have more than 30%. These guys are relatively even to me, right? But it's just I have this feeling. I don't know if I'll keep it again. I just feel like I don't want to have money on these guys that are not trustworthy, especially with so much pressure on him to win this fight. Steven is at least going to do his thing and just box, but we'll see. So yeah, doggo pass. I have some locked in, but I'll see if I like it by the end of the week. I'm here for the cold hard profit, and if I have more cold hard profit bets, I might just cash out these stupid dogs. Look to live bet. Parky played the under. What's the under, mate? I was actually liking Steven by decision, and obviously I think if it goes under, I'm kind of relying on Errens to get a sub. Great point, even Brandon. Brandon. Who's Brandon? Miyu. Is Jamie Pickett the only other 3-time contender series guy? No, there's a bunch. I just can't remember off the top of my head. All right, Miles Jones versus Cody Gibson. Originally taping this fight, I was like, Cody Gibson's my dog shot ASAP. I know Jones well. He's flaky. He doesn't like pressure. He's always on the back foot. He tires out. Might be chinny too. I faded him against Castaneda. That was one of my best bets, favorite bets. And I was about to play him against Vince Morales, a slight favorite. And yeah, I didn't because, I got put into that whole mindset. Oh, you can't play Jones as a favorite. But he covered. He won 30-27. And then I played him against Dan Agueda as an underdog too, plus 160, I think it was. So he's got his faults, but the guy can win. right? Cody Gibson it's a little bit shot worn, 36. He's hittable. I was really close to playing him against Katona just because of everything, his volume, his aggression. He can switch stances. He fights long. He's got power. He's good on top. But yeah, I saw him slow down in so many fights, and a lot of these fights, it's washed John Dodson. I'm not going to say washed Ray Borg, but undersized Ray Borg. Francisco Rivera almost knocked him out. Had to take him down and arm triangle choke him later on. Again, I don't know if he's going to be able to take Johns down. It's yeah, I just had this gut feeling like he's going to keep walking into John's strikes, big overhands. He needs to pressure to look value, but he's going to, John's backs up, but he walks people into his punches. Plus, the calf kick might be there. Cody Gibson's very heavy on his lead foot. He can switch stances, so that might work out for him. But yeah, it's a clear dog or pass for me. Someone as well versed as Gibson, you always got to take him against Johns. But someone like John Castaneda, when he beat Mars Johns, he tanked a lot of damage. He had a lot of overhand rights, and he kept coming forward. He's got that Mexican chin, and he ended up winning because of that. He gassed him out. You see the Brad Katona fight. He hurts him in the round 2. I lie about Katona there. He hurts him in round 2, and then he breaks his orbital in round 3. And the guy's tiny. He got tiny hands. Hasn't really knocked out anyone. So yeah, I just feel like Johns is more in his prime, but it's still dog or pass. I haven't locked anything. There's too many dogs I like here. I'm just trying not to burn my bankroll. John's volume is just so hard to bet on. It is, but man, he wins decisions. He's a big moment guy. Ooh, Parky's talking about the Randon fight. Nice. I also like the under there, man. Maybe we'll get around on it. Under is nice here. That's not bad too. I know you love your unders. I guess, yeah. I have to look into it. I have to tape it with the under option. Alrighty. Ricardo Ramos, Julian Arosa. So Julian was the underdog that I locked in. A little bit like Errens, the more time went on, I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have locked it in too soon, but not really. I got plus 150, $2.50. And this is honestly probably a better dog than Errens, just because there's so much footage of Julian Arosa. You know exactly what he's going to bring to the table, and there's so much footage of Ramos, in the UFC. So it's easier to get a read. But you look at Julian Arosa's, wins and losses. Obviously, he's got an awful chin and he's got awful defense, which is baked into the line. That's why he's underdog 90% of the time. But if you keep backing him as an underdog, which I have a few times, Hakeem W, one of my favorite bets. The one time he fought smart and he 30-27 them, then you would have you'll be up massively. He was pick him against Nate, or a little bit plus money, knocks him out. Massive underdog against Sean Woodson. Look at his wins, right? Look at his wins. So he's got on Contender Series, he has Jamal Emmers, who's doing well in the UFC. Eric Sanchez, who just won recently on the regionals, is quite a good fighter. Sean Woodson, Nate Langwehr, Charles Jourdain, all by finishes, right? Sean Woodson, Nate Langwehr, and Charles Jourdain, all by finishes. Really durable dudes. Well, maybe not Nate, all by finishes. Then Hakeem Dawood with 30-27. And, whatever, Steven Peterson split decision, but that's the one time he was a favorite. And then he's getting knocked out by, Choi and Padilla. I was on Padilla as a dog. He's this a level of competition is just wild. And Ricardo Ramos is not that great. You can never play him as a favorite. His best win it's definitely Bill Algeo. Every time I watch that fight, I always think, how the hell did he win this Algeo fight, considering it's all about damage versus control? He landed about 8 takedowns, minimum control. Pretty much nothing on the feet he landed. And then finally I decided, let's go to MMA decisions. And MMA decisions had it 29-28, pretty much even, which makes a lot more sense than he got 2 30-27s in that fight. So that's very interesting. He was getting lit up by Algeo. Algeo's a pace guy, but he can't bust the grape. And his takedowns defense is awful, right? So perfect matchup for Ramos. And Ramos was still gassed there. He had awful body language. So Arosa cracks, man. He hits a lot harder. He's got the calf kick. He can switch stances. He's got that mean uppercut. He can throw hooks on the back foot. I think he can definitely get big moments against Ricardo Ramos. Journey Newsom, he was getting dominated, and he leg kicked Ramos once, and Ramos's foot looked like it was done in round 3. Right, he pretty much gets knocked out early in every fight that he loses. Zabara paced him, almost knocked him out in round 1. Charles Johnson guillotined him in round 1. Like, Jesus, man. He's been submitted before too, so he's a black belt, but yeah, he's basically a flake. He will gas. He doesn't have much power. He throws single shots. And will he land his spinning back elbow against Arosa and knock him out? Maybe. But if he doesn't, man, it's a scary bet. It's always scary to bet on Arosa, but if you keep playing him as an underdog, he's going to return your money. I have $1,000 to win a unit. Maybe I'm thinking maybe I reduce to half a unit. I went bigger than Errens just because I initially liked the dog much better. I know Ramos as well. He's a flake. But when it comes down to Arosa doesn't have the best takedown defense, but he's never ever been submitted in his life, if you can believe that. And he's fought, Paddy Pimblett and for 5 rounds and Grant Dawson, and he kept giving Grant Dawson his back, and he even had some deep triangle chokes himself. So he's never been submitted, and he has good get-ups. So essentially, if Ramos doesn't spinning back kick, spinning elbow KO him here, I think there's going to be some value in Arosa, and he might even finish him. So dog or pass for me, easy. The under 2.5, it seems accurate. That's the number I had in my mind. But I don't mind the under 1.5. All of Ramos's finishes have been under 1.5 rounds. So hopefully Arosa comes out aggressive and capitalizes, but it could also be a hedge if Ramos KOs Arosa. I talked a little bit too much about that fight, but hey, it's one of the fights I have a bet on, so why not? What do we have here? Ben Leclerc. Don't matter. Ramos is a quitter. Rosichin narrative will no longer be. Yeah, exactly. Ramos is a quitter. One guy's chinny. Both guys are chinny, and one guy's a quitter, and Arosa will fight for your money. So it's a no-brainer to have him. And he's he's a much better fighter. LP, big up Steve and the Big Brain podcast and Discord. Thank you, LP. Also, shout out to the GOAT BJ Penn. I think that might be a burner account, mate, but that's fine. Arosa will fight for your money, which is key. Exactly. Yep. All right, let's move on. Speaking of fighting for your money, Trey Ogden versus Kurt Holler. Another dog I considered, 34-year-old versus 37-year-old. I kind of regretted passing on Kurt versus in his, tough finale versus what's his name now? Austin Hubbard. I know both the guys well. Hubbard has a lot of holes, can be taken down. He just comes on late. And Hubbard there's a lot to like about Hubbard, aggressive, good boxing, decent power, decent jiu-jitsu. He's a little bit of aggressive punching bag. He keeps coming forward. He can be hit a lot, and he can be taken down. That's one of the worst things about him. That's why I passed. And yeah, he got a triangle choke over Austin Hubbard, and it was quite slick. I'll give him that. But he spends so much time on his back, and he spends a lot of time on his back on Ultimate Fighter, and he dropped Shane Burgos back in his original run, and then he got armbarred. Yeah, he's a good fighter, but I just feel like even though Trey Ogden's style is a bit boring, why can't he do what he did to Mota? Just run away, jab him up. I think personally Kurt Holler does have a better chin than Mota. It's not saying much, but he's a lot more hittable. And Mota has good takedown defense, and Trey still found a way to mix it up, and he stuck with it, and he got the takedowns. And Kurt's not going to put up that resistance. He's just wind blows and Kurt falls over. So I feel like he might win a minus EV decision, but I'm lying if I'm not considering Kurt. He's gonna fight for your money. He might even get a sub. Trey's been submitted 3 times. He put himself in a deep guillotine versus Jordan Levitt. Obviously the Zellhuber fight was a fluke. He fought really well against Bahamondes like he did against Zellhuber, but Bahamondes was better at that style of fighting. Has a lot of volume and he's long, whereas Zellhuber could have won too if he just let his hands go. So yeah, Kurt doesn't fight like that. He's way too aggressive, way too hittable, and he can be taken down. So I feel like maybe Trey can just do something to win a minus EV. But yeah, maybe fight ends in sub. I see a lot of people playing the over. I don't know. It's a bit sketchy. Is this the time Trey gets subbed again? Maybe. But yeah, tough fight. Tough fight for me to get a read on personally. Alrighty, let's look at the comments and we'll move on. Kurt finish only. Yes, Popeye. I liked that a few days ago, but I think the line's gone now. Unless it hasn't, let me know. But the other thing is, Trey almost submitted Mota. So Paddy Arosa fight was a robbery. I agree. Arosa definitely beat Paddy, so that's another good win on his scalp. Andrew, Kurt 2 units for me. What's chuck in your breakdown in the thing for me, Andrew? Just short and sweet. I'm curious while I do this next fight. Luis Pajelo, Fernando Padilla. This is going to be a great fight. I can't wait for it. Obviously, unless one of these guys dies first. They have a lot of similarities. Both are hittable. Both are dogs. I would say both are durable. Although I have seen Luis Pajelo hurt quite a bit. I've seen Padilla hurt quite a bit too. But he's never really been hurt bad. Doesn't get dropped. Doesn't get wobbled. He just hits bombs on the chin and keeps coming forward. The main difference here is Padilla is a lot more technical. He throws. He doesn't load up. He's got nice sharp punches. He just throws them out there, throws in combinations, and he's flat-footed and he slows down. Whereas Pajelo throws everything in all his punches. He loads up. He telegraphs it. He's a brawler essentially, and he comes on as the fight goes on. So personally, I can't play Padilla at this favorite line. I mean, he should be the favorite. He's got the experience. He's got the age even. He's got the jiu-jitsu. And from what I've seen, he's massive. 6'1" versus 5'10". He's got 7 inches of reach. He's durable from the tape, more durable from the tape that I saw. Again, I see Lewis a lot more hurt. But if this gets extended, it's Pajelo's fight to come on and I can't take Padilla confidently knowing that 2 and 3 it's going to get sweaty. He's lost a bunch. Nate Richardson fight was a split just because he started getting cracked in rounds 2 and 3, and yeah. If anything, Luis Pajelo, I might have to live bet him. But a lot of people are crapping on him because his level of competition. But they said the same thing about him against Robbie Ring in his Contender Series, and he proved that just like a lot of these Peruvians, they can only fight who they get given. But if you got that dog in you and you're a savage, you can't teach that stuff. So that could take him. That could still take him somewhere in the UFC. But yeah, at the moment, I feel like the line is possibly accurate, and I'm gonna have my finger on the live bet button ASAP. Alrighty. Parky considering Kurt himself. Interesting. Minus 140 Bet Rivers finish only. Yeah, I don't have Bet Rivers. I have to look at my shitty Australian bookies and bet online. Do we need some light? Let there be a light. Let's go. Cool. Billy Quarantillo versus Eustace of Hull. I'm not a Billy Quarantillo lover. Personally, I faded him against... I have faded him a lot, actually. I faded him against Shane Burgos. I faded him against Edson Barbosa. And I faded him against Damon Jackson. I think I was a little bit unlucky with the Damon Jackson pick. I think a lot of people expected him to knock out Damon Jackson. Damon mauled him in round 1. Nothing new. He always loses round 1. Round 2, he just put it on him. And round 3 was quite competitive considering Damon Jackson was absolutely gassed. He's 35. He's a punching bag. He's always losing until he's winning. I don't like any of his wins. Gabriel Benitez. We've seen Jim Miller do a much better job against Gabriel Benitez. It's all chinny and flaky dudes. Gavin Tucker completely shut him down. Barbosa knocked him out cold. 35. He's fighting Yusuf Zalal, a guy that is decent enough. I've faded him too. I faded him against Choi. Getting grapple left by Choi, it's a bit of a concern. But he's 27. I have this theory now, right, that he needed a round 1. He needed a round 3 finish against Damon Blackshear, right? He was down 2-0. And he came out, he worked the body, he almost finished an extremely durable guy in Blackshear, right? After he cut from the UFC, right? A lot of his fights were boring. He tries to wrestle but doesn't have the best physicality. So then he goes out and he knocks out, Edwin Chavez, Jake Chilla, and whatever, this guy that submits this guy that's a kickboxer. But sure, they're bums. Edwin Chavez is a bum, but he hasn't been finished much. I think that's the only time he's been finished. He went on to fight Cody Law in Bellator and another guy, and they couldn't finish him. They went to 3-round decisions. He finished him used to finish him to the body. He finished Jake Chilla. I haven't looked at his durability, but he's 9-3 at the time. Not the worst regional fight, but I have this theory now that he got cut. His coaches said, look, the only way to get back to the UFC is to get some finishes back to back. He's not grappling much. He's just working the body. He did what he did against Blackshear. He can actually mix it up to the body quite well. Billy Quarantillo was lit up against Tucker to the body. If he can be hurt, he will be to the body. It's how you sap his gas tank. He's going to have the much better footwork. He's going to be use lateral movement while Billy's just going to pressure forward. All he has is the overhand right. Zalal's cardio and flaky. He's not as bad as some of these other bums. He's not chinny. He's not flaky. So it's a dog or pass for me, but unfortunately this line is coming a lot. But yeah, I feel like Zalal might surprise people. If he strikes here, he's going to do much better for him. Obviously, he can take Billy down. Anyone can, because his takedown defense is so bad early. But if he gets into a scramble heavy fight, I think Billy might win that. So, but if Zalal just strikes and he does what he did again in his early fights against the Lingo, Lingo was pressuring him and he just couldn't get a beat on. He was calf kicking him. He can also calf kick Billy. He's also susceptible to that. So yeah, dog or pass, clear dog or pass. But yeah, I wish I had that plus 140. I just hesitated because Zalal, just losing a bunch of close fights in the UFC. And yeah, if I had that line back again, I would have taken it. But oh well. At the current line, it's pass all around. What comments do we have? Kurt is going to land more damaging shots. Calf kicks will be free. He sets up his shots a lot better than Mota. I don't know if he sets up his shots. I just feel like he pressures forward. Ogden hates pressure. He does, but he's also got good footwork on the back foot. Apparently, Ogden has some elite wrestling. I mean, he doesn't, but it's not hard to get Kurt down at all. Exactly, Parky. Hernandez tried to grapple Billy. He did, but he beat the shit out of him in round 1 still. Get-ups against Hubbard were technical. Yeah, but he still burned way too many minutes getting up. Plays guard too long. Zalal, same camp. Wouldn't be surprised if he took the same approach. Yeah, hopefully. It's just a little theory that I have that he's been striking more recently and he's going to strike here. I don't think Zalal's submitting Billy. Alrighty. Peyton Talbot, Cameron Simon. So this is the other fight that I haven't taped. Full disclosure. I love saying full disclosure today. It's just fucked up. Let me get out of this. Am I sharing the right screen? Yeah. So yeah, I know these guys well. Gut instinct without tape. I think that maybe I would have liked Talbot to pick him. I missed it. So now when I do tape it, hopefully I'll like Cameron as an underdog. I played Cameron, as a massive underdog in Contender Series. I regret not playing Talbot as a slight favorite on Contender Series. I was in Europe, so I couldn't use my bet online. But yeah, since then, I played the under in the Terrence Mitchell fight. I think I live bet him against Kozlov when he was an underdog getting grapple left, and when he lost the point, I just felt like he was going to pace Kozlov in round 3. Nothing on the Christian Rodriguez fight, but that was a decent showing. Christian Rodriguez just looked like a big boy. Missed weight or bantamweight. You could see against the Bulgarian that he wasn't a small featherweight at all. So that was a tough physical matchup for him, and it was competitive. Talbot, I remember, I taped his regionals twice for Contender and for his debut. I remember, he lost round 1 to Nick Aguirre. The takedowns were coming easy. I don't think there's any value on Talbot at this minus money, but both guys start slow. But for me, it's Cameron or pass at the moment, and I don't want to talk too much without tape, so let's move on. All right, Edmund Shabazian, AJ Dobson. So I left this fight to tape last, and everyone in the Discord, etc., they're just playing the over. Obviously, some people playing the under. That's why the over got improved. And my friend, that's one of his only bets is the over here. My really disciplined friend. And I wasn't going to look into it. I thought I'm not really good at overs. I'm more of an under guy. And I just taped the last AJ Dobson fight against Tafa. And, I remember him throwing the fight away against Armin. And I remember him not really throwing too much against Jacob Malkoon. And I'm like, man, this over does have value, You watch Edmund versus Dalcha, and it takes him almost till round 3 to KO him. And it's just really, really slow pace. There was a massive pace against Anthony Hernandez, and he made it to round 3. Massive pace against Jack Hermanson, went to a decision. I got burned there on the under. Made it to round 3 against Derek Brunson. Massive pace there. There was ground and pound. If you end up on the bottom of Brunson, you're going to get finished, plus Brunson's chinny. Almost made it to round 3 against Imavov. Again, big pace with the grappling from Imavov. Some fluky round 1 finishes, over Brad Tavares and some other stuff, Charles Bird. But yeah, I think there's value on this over. Obviously, AJ Dobson cracks. He cracks a lot, but he's just not fighting like that in the UFC, And he's had 3 fights already, and he hasn't adjusted his style. So I don't know if he's going to change up his style, but I think this guy's just going to technically strike. I don't know much about AJ's chin. I've never seen him finished. I've never seen him really rocked. So there's that. But yeah, plus money, I had to play some over 2.5. I haven't played it yet. I'm waiting for the fight starts round 3. But yeah, that's the only way I like it. I know Dobson is a popular dog. I get it, Edmund at minus 200. But watching the Tarfon fight, Tarfon barely had any volume, and he won round 1, and he almost sneaked out round 2. He caught 2 leg kicks and took him down. Edmund is hard to take down, and Edmund has get-ups. So yeah, I mean, I can't back Dobson pretty, considering how he doesn't push the pace whatsoever. Right, he's going to give Edmund the technical fight that he wants. But if he wrestles, that'll work good for him. But yeah, so it's a dog or pass. Look to live bet Dobson, and I like these overs. I don't like the over 1.5. I think it's too juicy, accurate, and if there's a finish, it's probably going to be under anyway. So rather go the full way, the 2.5. All right. What do we got? Leans allowed decision. Wish I played his money line. Yeah, me too, Parky. And now that I'm talking about it, with this line's probably not going to bounce back either. Andrew, Edmund sub. Honestly, mate, as I was doing this breakdown, the Edmund sub popped into my mind. He loves the guillotine. So yeah, that could kill the over. Hopefully not. Arosa breakdowns are very similar to Phil Hawes. Always starts with he's the better fighter, but yeah, I mean, unlike Phil Hawes, Arosa has a lot of good wins on his career. So, and his chin's not as bad as Hawes. It's nowhere near as bad. You can drop Arosa, but only the best of the best finishers finish Arosa. I'll take this over angle. Ooh, no shit, come on, mate. Carl Williams, Justin Tafa. Now, I did a little bit of a U-turn on this one. Obviously, I was gonna lay Carl Williams minus money. Forget about playing Usos, these fat Islanders. I got burned by Ty in the last one, especially with this knee injury stuff. Forget about playing them against wrestlers; they're just not trustworthy. But after tape, I didn't want to go too far back in Justin Tafa's early career, because that's the only time you see his grappling, 2017 and 18. But I did it anyway because, it's the only sometimes it's the only tape you have, and you have to just fill in the blanks from then on. And I saw some shrimping from him. I saw some shrimping, and I remember previously in my notes I wrote that he goes for takedowns. He kept trying to take down Felipe and Mandera, which tells me that maybe he's confident grappling. Like, he had some reversals against these bums in Australian regional scene. He could shrimp. He would get out of mount. He had good underhook, table lever, sweep, whatever it's called, when you underhook the leg when they're in mount and you just sneak under. He was decent, he wasn't a complete fish. Obviously, the takedowns would still come easy, and it's hard to imagine that Carl Williams won't be able to take him down. But I watched that Chase Sherman fight, and that's a bad look. I had one of the boys talking to me, Chase Sherman's a good athlete, this and that, and he was an NFL guy. He's good get-ups. It's like, it's still Chase Sherman, man. That fight, if it wasn't for Chase Sherman, Carl Williams would have lost that fight. But Chase Sherman, threw it away. He couldn't stop eating the jab. He couldn't stop eating leg kicks. So good on Carl Williams. He went 1 for 10 or something. So he didn't really use his wrestling, and he still beat Chase Sherman. But that's Chase for you. If he's on the feet against Tafa, and Tafa stuffs a few, Tafa has a mean uppercut. One of the best uppercuts I've ever seen. Lands it clean. Maybe he can time Carl if he has a few get-ups, if the fight starts round 2 again on the feet. But yeah, I mean, I haven't left with anything strong, except I've switched from Carl to Tafa. But can I play him? I don't know. Maybe I just see to live bet this fight. The under, I guess. Some people like the under. It's just, trusting Carl to finish someone, especially if you can't get wrestling off. Couldn't do it to Bresky, who's a bum. Couldn't do it to Sherman. Tafa's not amazing, but it's a step up, and probably durability-wise, a step up from those guys. If anything, I'll play fight ends in KO. It's pick'em. You're basically just fading the Justin Tafa omoplata angle. But yeah, tough to get a read. But yeah, I don't mind the dog. I'm not going to force anything on this fight, and maybe look to live bet. See if Carl slows down, and go from there. All right, let's see the comments. I think the under is heavy reliant on Edmund early finish. Yeah, Yeah, you never know. Dobson used to spark fools on the regionals. Nothing like the Big Brain podcast to cheer you up after heartbreak. BigSteve out here saving lives. Yeah, well, heartbreaks will come and go, my friend. Best thing to do is make money. One takedown and the fight is over. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Mbae, let's go. Haven't had anyone else on Tafa. Great pod. Miss you in the Discord, Mbae. Thanks for listening. Elvis Julic. Tafa loses to Bandera, and yeah, we know that. I faded Tafa against the Lima, but the Lima is again levels above Carl Williams. Let's be honest. Amanda Heas versus Rose Namajunas, and this is the last lucky fight that I haven't taped just yet. I mean, I'm not rushing it because I'm definitely won't be parlaying Rose or playing her in any long shots or any rubbish like that. So no rush. The line is here. It's going to stay here on Amanda Heas. It's dog or pass. I'll lean like it's most likely going to be a live bet just to see how Rose is looking. Amanda has some of the worst striking defense and chin in female division. You know, the Luana Pinheiro fight, she was just getting beaten up in round one. Like, not that bad, but she just couldn't dodge anything. You know, she's getting dropped by Werner Jandiroba and stuff like that. So maybe just simmer, let it simmer, watch how it goes. If it's competitive, I definitely don't mind some Ribas underdog shot because she does have a lot of stuff going for her. You know, I played a Caitlin Chukagian decision against her big, and yeah, I didn't expect those head and arm throws. She's got great volume. She'll keep throwing. Obviously, you know, paced Luana Pinheiro late. You know, paced almost knocked out Arosa. She has her own good power. She's good. Amanda Heas, if she had a good chin, she would be probably contending for the title in both weight classes, right? But the chin is the issue, and Rosie is the sniper. So that's the only thing putting me off it. But again, I haven't taped it, so I don't want to go too in depth. I did play Rose as a dog against Fioro. It was close, but unfortunately lost another 29-28. But yeah, we'll see. It's a dog or pass, no brainer. I'm just open up to see the over-unders. Over-unders. The under 3.5 is a pick'em. Obviously, I feel like that's Rose Namajunas reliant. I don't think Ribas is really going to finish Rose unless Rose is washed. Like, who's really finished Rose? Jessica Andrade slammed her. And, you know, Carla Esparza submitted her, you know, back when she was freaking 23 or something. I don't know. I guess she can be submitted. She's been rear naked choked by Gillian Robertson as well. So it's possible. And Ribas does have good submissions. But yeah, female women's MMA. I feel like the under is correlated to Rose. I'll have to do proper tape and just see what her chances are. But man, Rose could come out of nowhere and just, you know, land one strike and knock out Ribas. We've seen it with Weili Zhang, and we've seen it with Joanna, two durable girls. So maybe that's the path. Play the under and then look to live bet Rose. All right, let's do the comments and get out of here. I've got a lot of regionals to tape. Parky on the Ribas, of course. Massive step down in competition for Rose. I don't know if it's massive. Ribas is good, man. If she's motivated, she looks minus 400. Yeah, maybe. When can we get the BigSteve and BJ Penn podcast? Well, I spoke to BJ Penn, and I need to see some of his videos. I need to see how he breaks down fights, and then we'll do it. Miles, do you like Tafa finish only? No, not really. Not really, because I think he's live to get finished as well with that knee injury stuff, and it's a tough fight. Tough fight. I can just see him get laid on by Carl Williams, and yeah, Carl Williams doesn't have much of a submission threat. That's the issue. That's why I like the fight ends in KO, because it's probably going to be ground and pound from Carl Williams, and you know, obviously the big shot from Tafa. Alrighty, what do we have? That's it. Usman Parkin, I like the over there. Andrew Lima Severino a pass. This Daria fight, don't mind the under. We'll look into that. I have a little bit of Errens. I hate it. We'll see if I jump out. Gibson Johns, dog a pass. Ramos, Arosa. I have a little bit of Arosa. I'll probably reduce. Maybe play the under 1.5 to hedge. Ogden versus Kurt, dog or pass. Padilla versus Pelo, dog or pass. Zelinkova, Quarantillo, dog or pass. Dog or pass, Simon, Talbot. Edmund, Shabazian, AJ Dobson. I'm going to play the over there, dog or pass. Justin Tafa, I don't know, man. Both, I can see any aspect. I can see the overs, the unders, the dog, the favorite. And Amanda Hebas, Rose, dog or pass. Thank you for listening. I will tell you the one bet that I did place right before I went live was Jacinta Austin on Octagon. She's Pick'em on Bet365. She's fighting Carolina Wojcik, the chick that was on Contender Series, and Dana White didn't sign her because she just cage humps, and she barely won a 29-28 against the bum. I wouldn't sign her either, to be honest, after that performance. Yeah, I think this is a levels fight. I think Austin has it covered on the feet. If they clinch up, Austin has all the finishing upside with the rear naked choke, like she's done before. This is a step down from the Delitza, step down from Knudsen, which is her other loss. Austin is more physical. She's bigger. Yeah, it's basically what you cap Carolina Wojcik at, her split decision at. I'll give her maybe like 30%. I was even going to play the juicy bet online odds as well. So, but luckily I have Pick'em on Bet365. So, yeah, I got a full unit on Jacinta Austin. Lorena Carrera. Is this a girl? It would be nice to have another girl listening. Good point on Arosa getting finished by good strikers. Ramos isn't one of those guys. Shelter, 2 pods in 1 week. Love it. Yeah, remember the day when I did 4? That burnt me out. That burned me out quite a lot. Anyway, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. I've got some regionals to tape, some profit to make. Peace out.